What's going on, everyone? Welcome into another episode of Lutties-lookback. My name is Nick Luttrell. We've got a packed show for you guys today, talking Arkansas football, UCA, UAPB. In about 15 minutes or so, we're going to talk Arkansas basketball. Yes, basketball season is right around the corner. The Razorbacks were in town yesterday in Hot Springs with a little scrimmage, so we'll talk about that. I'll give you guys my notes. We'll hear from Coach Calipari. But first, we have to, unfortunately, start with the football team. My three big things from the weekend and how Arkansas did in their three-point, frustrating 34-31 loss to Tennessee and Bobby Petrino's first game as interim head coach. You see them behind me. Let's go over them. The first one, nothing new under the sun. The second one, Chris Wilson deserves a standing round of applause, or just a round of applause for that matter. The third big thing, we got to be optimistic. We got to be optimistic going forward. But in order to be optimistic, I got to be a little pessimistic to start. So allow me to do that, because with this game, there's two ways to look at it. You could have looked at it like, hey, this was good. You know, they put in so much more effort than the last time we saw them play against Notre Dame. They fought for their coach. They fought and clawed their way back into this game when they could have just laid low after going down by 17 in the fourth quarter. All these things could have happened. It didn't. And they played one of the best teams in the SEC to a really tight ball game. So that's great. The other side of it is the side I'm going to take first here, which is the more for the pessimistic side, which is the same thing keeps happening. No matter if you get rid of the head coach, if you get rid of everyone on the defensive side of the football as far as the staff goes and the coaches go, it's still the same outcome. Take out that Notre Dame game, it's the same outcome, right? In the SEC games on the road, you play them close, but then you lose because of turnovers. It's the same thing. There is nothing new under the sun. For people who may not know that reference, it's kind of part of an old Bible verse in Ecclesiastes. It's a whole thing about just basically nothing new has been done. Everything is just the same. And that's really what it feels like right now to be an Arkansas football fan. Now, I know there's a lot of new things, and yes, Bobby Petrino is the new head coach, interim head coach. Yes, Sam Pittman is in Hot Springs enjoying his lake house. But the reality is the same things are happening that we saw with a Sam Pittman coach team in the last 5 years, playing some really great games, some really fun games to watch, and then they just rip your heart out at the end. And this one wasn't as discouraging, disappointing as it normally is, because there was some optimism, some hope for the future, because you have a new staff, because it's not Sam Pittman anymore. That helps that a little bit. But it's just these same things happening over and over again. 3 costly turnovers for the Razorbacks. You want to say it's 4, it can be 4 if you want to include that late third quarter, fourth down that Arkansas didn't get in the red zone. That one was costly. The fumble by Braylon Russell was costly. Taylon Green's fumble in basically his own backyard, his own end zone, and a couple plays later, Tennessee scores. That was costly. These little things that Arkansas can't seem to do right, just protect the football. I just don't get it, you know? I don't play football. I just sit here and talk about it, so I don't know crap compared to the people out there playing. But it just is frustrating, you know, that these same things keep happening over and over again. These same things happen with Taylon Green when he shows us some phenomenal plays, some exciting plays, some Heisman-like plays, and then some other plays that are like, what are you doing? You know, we didn't see a ton of head-scratching plays in this Tennessee game. It was just unfortunate, kind of these fumbles that happened. The second one, definitely, like he was throwing. He probably could have felt better on the guys behind him on his 2 fumbles. It weren't the worst in the world. We've seen Taylon Green certainly play worse. He had a good game. 2 things can be true. The reason Arkansas was in this game down the stretch was because of Taylon Green. The reason Arkansas kind of lost this game was because of Taylon Green. Both things can be true in my opinion. So that's my first big thing. It's everything is just the same, minus, you know, the head coaches and everything, right? My second big thing, Chris Wilson, bravo to you. You deserve a round of applause. I doubt you watched Lutties-lookback, but if you do, well done to you. And those who don't know who Chris Wilson is, hopefully you're going to know here in a few seconds. He's now the defensive coordinator, the interim defensive coordinator for the Razorbacks. For the past, for the whole full season, or the early parts of the season, the first 3 or 4 games, he was the assistant defensive line coach. basically the backup D-line coach is basically how we're going to put it. Everyone else gets fired, but for whatever reason, hey, Chris Wilson, you're okay. We're going to keep you around. Why don't you run the defense for us? That'd be cool, huh? And you know what? He put together a pretty good defensive plan for the number one scoring offense in the country. That was the Tennessee Volunteers. So well done to him. And it's not all just him. The players put in more effort, maybe because Bobby Petrino motivated them, maybe because they missed Travis Williams and they want to win it for him, their coach that they used to have. I don't know why Arkansas defense was able to slow down the Tennessee offense. Maybe it was just a bad day for the Volunteers. But I'm taking it from the Arkansas angle and saying a good job from the Arkansas defense. It really was. 34 points. That's the lowest amount of points Tennessee has had all season long. They averaged like 55 or something crazy like that. Now, I hope what transpires the rest of the season is that Tennessee turns out to be as good as we think they are right now. This sort of thing kind of happened last year where Arkansas beat Tennessee, and we were like, this is a crazy win. The Tennessee, they still made the playoff, but they ended up not being as good as people thought they were when they played Arkansas. So I wonder if they start going downhill, kind of like they did last year. We'll see. That's my second big thing. Chris Wilson, well done to you. A nobody a few weeks ago has become a somebody, and a somebody that deserves recognition as the new defensive coordinator for the Razorbacks. My third big thing is kind of continue this optimism, starting more negative and going more positive as I go along, is I think we got to be optimistic going forward. I think we got to put up – I'm not trying to be that guy that's like, hey, let's put a positive spin on everything, and there's moral victories and it'll all be okay and this team's fine and let's just smile and move along. No, it was disappointing. It was frustrating. It was all those things. But if you purely look at where this team was at, their effort, their energy, their enthusiasm, their ability to play a good football game against Notre Dame versus what we saw in that Tennessee game, two completely different teams. And I know I have the whole thing about, in the games before Notre Dame, it's all been the same, but I think we have to be optimistic going forward because this was just the first game of Bobby Petrino's tenure. Think about all the craziness that has been going on with Arkansas football in the past 2 weeks. It's a lot. A lot has been going on. A lot has happened in the last 2 weeks for Arkansas football. So for them to go out there against Tennessee and hold them to, 34 points, to keep that game close, to fight back when they fought back, when they could have just let go of the rope and lost by 30, when they were down 17 at that one point. They didn't do that, though. They fought their way back. They made this game close. It was too late, so that was disappointing, and that stinks. But I think we should be optimistic with this team going forward because you never know what happens. Now, the road ahead is very difficult. They've got a lot of challenging teams coming up, but there's still some winnable games out there. There's still a path to a bowl game. There's still a path to a bowl game. And it starts against Texas A&M. You never know, right? Crazier things have happened. I doubt it happens, but you know what? At this point, who knows? Arkansas just continues to surprise me. They find new ways every week to lose football games, but they also find new ways to just stay in football games. So, again, I know it sounds like these past 8 minutes that I've talked has been two sides to it, and it might sound like I'm arguing with myself because I am, but that's just reality of there's these two ways to look at it. You can be a pessimist, you can be an optimist. But Coach Petrino, he's a little bit more of the optimistic viewpoint. Here's what he told his players after the loss on Saturday.
I just told them to keep their heads up. We came into here to show that we were going to compete. We were well prepared. They played physical and tough. They never gave in. We wanted to play one play at a time and find a way to win in the fourth quarter. I was proud the way the defense stuck together and kept competing, and obviously we gave up some things, but we also made plays to give us a chance to win. So now we just got to stick together and continue to practice and prepare the way that we did these last 2 weeks, probably week. But we're right there. We just got to find a way to get over the hump.
Now that was Bobby Petrino saying those words there at the end. We're gonna get over the hump. And so you see that and you're like, okay, I can get behind that. Most people are getting behind Bobby Petrino, and maybe he's gonna turn this thing around, maybe not. If that's Sam Pittman saying those same things, we're gonna get over the hump, we're right there. That's incredibly frustrating. And so all these same things are happening, but because it's a different voice, it just helps it out a little bit, because you just have a little bit more of an optimistic viewpoint. Because that's something Sam Pittman says. And Petrino is not like Sam Pittman at all. Very different. A lot of things he said in the press conference were very different. But that was one of the things I was like, that's a Pittmanism. That's a Pittmanism right there. To say, yeah, we're so close, we're gonna get over the hump. And I tend to want to believe it a little bit more with Petrino, because it's just I just got to. I don't want to just give up on this football team yet. I think I might have if it was still Sam Pittman, but something just says they want to play for Petrino, because they showed it to me this past weekend. They showed they want to play for Petrino because they fought in that Tennessee game, and in that Notre Dame game they had no fight. So that's what that tells me. That's enough Arkansas football talk. Let's move on to UCA. How about the Bears with a big-time win over the weekend, 49-21 over North Alabama. Back-to-back wins in the UAC for UCA, and it was pretty dominant fashion, 49-21. That's impressive. Now, it's not a North Alabama team that's amazing, but where this UCA team was a few weeks ago to where they are now is either much improved, or maybe they're just playing easier opponents. I'm not sure. Maybe a little bit of a mix of both. But the big thing in this game was their stars stepped up. Their stars stepped up and started to play at the level we want them to play. That's Landon Chambers. That's Malachi Henry. You can throw Austin Myers in there too. 200 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. 2 of those were caught by Malachi Henry. Henry only had 5 receptions. 2 of the 5 were touchdowns. 119 receiving yards, which is pretty crazy. But the MVP by far for the Bears, Landon Chambers, the sophomore running back. I think he's a sophomore, maybe a junior. He was on UCA's team last year, didn't play much because of Shunderick Powell and because of Darius Hale and the go-to running backs that UCA had last year. Now it's Chambers' time, and he showed glimpses of it. They fed him the ball a lot, but not as efficient as he was able to be on Saturday afternoon in Alabama, which was really impressive. That also gives credit to the offensive line. They've really struggled for a good part this season. They stepped up in this game, especially in the run block. Chambers almost 200 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns. That's a lot of credit to the offense for putting up 49 points. But also give credit to the defense, forcing 3 turnovers against North Alabama and holding them to 3 touchdowns. The defense with 2 interceptions and a fumble recovery. So hats off to the UCA defense as well. If there's any bad thing really from this UCA game, first of all, how long it lasted. I'm trying to get ready for my 6:30 broadcast, which hopefully you watch our 6:30 broadcast on CBS or TH11+. I'm trying to get ready for it. The game has to end before I can show the highlights. This game lasted like 4 hours. Why? Because of penalties. UCA 13 penalties for 133 yards, about the same the UNA had, which is just kind of crazy. That's why the game lasted so long. So if there's anything to clean up going forward for their next game coming up, it's those penalties. So that's something I want to see UCA improve at going forward. But overall, good win for UCA. Back-to-back wins. They're headed in the right direction, which is what you want to see. All right, UCA. Let's talk UAPB now. Homecoming win, and it was quite a dominant win. The most points scored by UAPB since 1990. So that's pretty crazy. You see it on the screen behind me, 79-10. 3 different quarterbacks throwing a touchdown. DJ Stevenson, I think, was the starter. Christian Peters, Tyson Robbins. They also had the 2 other quarterbacks play in this game, so all 5 quarterbacks got to play. 5 different guys had a rushing touchdown. Jalen Jennings, Garrison Davis, Tyson Robbins, a quarterback, Luttrell Cooper, DJ Stevenson, the quarterback. So all around a pretty impressive offensive performance. Avery Robinson, 2 receptions, 2 touchdowns, 91 yards, so pretty efficient when he's catching the ball. He's scoring a touchdown. This is what you wanted. This is what had to happen for UAPB defense as well, forcing 4 fumbles, so 4 turnovers for the UAPB defense. These are good things, and this was a great win for UAPB, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about it because of Westgate Christian. Westgate Christian, how should I say this, is barely a real football team. They're not in Division I. They're not FCS. They're not Division II. They're not Division III. They're not even affiliated with the NCAA or the NAIA or the FCS or the FBS. They're in their own independent category. Not like, hey, Notre Dame's an independent FBS football team. No, it's just like independent of everything. So they're a college, and they're a football program that's in their 2nd year of existing, but they barely exist. So that's not to be mean to UAPB. It's good for them. They put up 79 points against Westgate Christian, so that's good. So maybe just gives them a little confidence, right? That's a good thing, to get a little confidence going forward now as they go back into real football and real games and back into conference play. I think they finish out the year. Every single opponent is a SWAC team going forward. So maybe they can put together some wins, maybe not. They've already got 1 conference win on the year out for Alcorn State a couple weeks ago. So if they can put that together, put this together, maybe they can put a decent season together. But for this game, obviously a good win, something that needed to happen. That did happen for UAPB, a 79-10 win over Westgate Christian. All right, let's take a brief pause in football. Let's talk about basketball. Arkansas basketball, I think less than 2 weeks away, depending on when you're watching this, if I can keep my papers with me. Sunday afternoon, they had their red-white scrimmage, hoops extravaganza, autograph session, pictures, hanging out thing in Hot Springs. It was a cool event. About 2,000 people there or so. Remember they did this last year with the team in Hot Springs. They did it in Pine Bluff just to kind of get to different areas of the state and show off the team. This was the first time me in person got to see the new team. Obviously, I was impressed. They've got so many weapons, so much length. A couple things that I noted, length is a big part of it. They've got some big guys in Nick Pringle, who's a big man transfer from South Carolina, Malik Ewan, transfer big man from Florida State. I feel like there's one more, Paulo Semedo, who's an international guy, a couple others in there. But, Trevin Brazil, obviously, they've got some big players that are good. And that's just not like they're big guys, that's their guards as well. Billy Richmond's pretty long. Obviously, Carter Knox is very tall and long. Malik Thomas, the freshman, who's a top 10 freshman for the Razorbacks, looks really good and is also very long. They got some dudes, y'all. They got some dudes. I think this is going to be a good team. I think they should be a top 10 team. I think when the polls come out, they'll be somewhere between 10 and 20. And maybe this is a little bit of my bias because it's recent that I just saw the team and I'm hyped up on them right now. So maybe there's that. But I think they have the potential to be really good. They have the potential to be a Final Four team. And they have a team that's together right now. At this point last season, John Calipari had half of his team playing. The other half was injured. No one is injured right now. They all played. We all got to see them. So that's exciting. It was fun. And then one specific before we hear from John Calipari, or a couple here, Isaiah Seeley, the Springdale product who was close to winning. Did they end up winning No, they did not win the state championship. I think Brian beat them, but it was close to winning a state championship. He could play. He could play, you guys. I thought it was just hey, he's a local kid. Let's give him a scholarship to play at Arkansas and sit the bench. No, I think he has potential to actually give playing time to this Arkansas team to make them even more deep than they actually are, which is crazy because they got 3 freshmen. Seeley is one of them, the Springdale product. The 2 others are top 10 guys, top 10 guards, Malik Thomas and Darius Acuff Jr. Yeah, both those guys, 2 really good freshmen. 2 really special players for this Arkansas basketball team that are going to be fun to watch this season. Both of them will definitely get playing time Malik Thomas might start. I think maybe Acuff coming off the bench. Maybe Sealy, probably that last guy on the bench. I think he could compete with minutes for Billy Richmond. I'm not super high on Billy as far as offensively getting scores. I mean, he's a great player, but when you put him against all these other players, I'm like, how are they going to play all these guys? How are they going to? It's like an all-star team is what it feels like. It's going to be exciting season. Couple stats here briefly before we hear from Coach Cal from the scrimmage. Nick Pringle, the big man, leading them in points, 22 points, 10 rebounds. These are unofficial stats. Malik Thomas, 21 points. Darius Acuff, 20 points, are both the freshmen there. This is, by the way, this is in two scrimmages of 20 minutes that they played. So both those guys with 20-plus points. Carter Knox, 19 points. Malik Ewan, 19 points. C.J. Wagner, 18 points. Trevin Brazil, 15 points, 9 rebounds. Isaiah Sealy, 14 points. And then Billy Richmond, 4 points. So not too much for Billy, but again, we'll have to see what happens there. I think he just, maybe when the lights get on, he really plays, hard and plays good. Not that he didn't play hard and good, Sunday when I was watching him. But this team's going to be good. This team is going to be really good. Let's hear from Coach Cal now what he had to say after the scrimmage.
TB's gotten better. DJ's gotten better. Billy's gotten better. They've all gotten better, and they're back. The young kids are pretty good. Malik and Nick are pretty good. So Isaiah got a chance. He really does. But you know what's great about today? You put people in the seats, and all of a sudden guys are banked missing. And they had shot the ball so well. Yeah. All right, now people are watching you. So it's good for them to understand why you shoot game shots and why you put pressure on yourself in all the drills in practice, so you don't walk in here and shoot 2 air balls or badly miss a free throw. You're a good shooter. How's that? It's the environment. And you understand the environment we're going to play in, whether it be at home or on the road, is going to be ridiculous.
All right, so a couple weeks away from Arkansas's first exhibition game. Let's let's go back to some football scores. Go down to the Division II level. You see some GAC football scores from this past weekend of games. Henderson State taking care of business, 59-0 shutout win. Arkansas Tech getting upset by East Central. A bit of a shocker here. That's the first shocker. The second is the one you see. That's kind of a shocker, I guess. Arkansas Monticello losing to OBU. That is Oklahoma Baptist, 17-14 the final score there. I guess the other one I was thinking about, the middle on your right, SAU almost losing to Southwestern Oklahoma State. That would have been another shocker that almost happened but didn't quite happen. So SAU holding on to the end to get that win. Top right, OBU, Washington Baptist, 28-7 win over SNU. And then bottom right, Harding continues to dominate, not just at the GAC level, but the Division II level. They are the number 2 team in the country, and they continue to look like they have 35-7 win for the Bison. All right, to our high school football scores now. Some Friday Night Blitz scores in case you missed it. In our game of the week, Conway dominating Cabot 57-28 behind backup quarterback Ryder Cook. Hopefully their starter can get going and get ready soon. His name is escaping me. Not Grayson Wilson. Oh my goodness, I forgot it. I apologize. But hopefully Conway will continue rolling, continue on in the 7A level. Little Rock Christian taking care of business against Central 41-7. Bryant beating PA 48-14. This was a close game at halftime. Give credit to PA somehow for hanging in there and stopping the Bryant rushed offense. But Bryant did their thing in the second half and won. How about Pitt? The Panthers 87-42 over Sheridan. This one had all the offense and highlights you could ask for. You can head over to our website to watch the highlights from that game. Sylvan Hills continues to look strong, 25-10 over El Dorado. Searcy with a 48-27 win over Jacksonville. They were down early, came back to win that game. They're undefeated, 6-0 for the first time since, I think, 2019. Speaking of blowouts, Robinson 72-0 over Whitehall. Lakeside in the Class 5A, 28-14 over Arkansas. Magnolia and Camden Fairview came down to the wire with the Cardinals winning by 2. Farmington-Greenbrier game that was probably one of the games of the weeks, I should say. Greenbrier coming out on top of that. They run the conference there. Mills hanging on against Forest City by 9. Dardanelle and Clinton came down to the wire. That was a crazy game. Dardanelle blocked what could have been a game-winning field goal for Clinton, and they returned it nearly for a touchdown, but basically to win the game. So the Sand Lizards are one of the best teams in the Class 4A. Another team that I thought was one of the best teams in Class 4A was Warren, but they got shocked on Friday night by Hamburg, 67-54. Where are the defenses? Come on, 67 points for Hamburg, 72 for Robinson, 87 for Benton. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing, defensive coaches out there? All right, whatever. Final two scores in the 2A level, Cohen with a 1-point win over Hazen, avoiding the upset there. And then Carlisle falling to Hampton. An upset loss in the 2A, Hampton winning 36-28. All right, let's go on now to my Lutties legend of the week. Normally it's a Razorback. Sometimes it's a Golden Lion. But you know one we haven't done is UCA. How about the Bears? How about one guy in particular? His name is Landon Chambers. 24 carries, 184 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns, leading his team to a 49-21 win over North Alabama. So quite the win for UCA, quite the performance from Landon Chambers. If he continues at this level, if his line can block for him like they did in this game, look out for what UCA can do in the UAC. Finally, my Lutties look ahead for the Razorback football team. They've got a tough one. The number 4 team in the country coming to your place on Saturday afternoon, 2:30 on ESPN. Arkansas will need everything they've got in order to upset the Aggies. We've seen them pull off crazy upsets. I think this would be one of the crazier ones. Texas A&M currently the number 1, or the highest ranked team, I should say, in the SEC, led by Marcel Reed. When I first did predictions for the season preview for Arkansas, I said Arkansas would win this game and storm the field. Now, I probably also said that they would carry Sam Pittman off the field on their shoulders. Obviously, that's not going to happen now. A lot more has changed and happened since than I thought was going to happen. But my prediction still holds that I think it's possible that Arkansas could pull the upset against Texas A&M. All right, that's going to do it for this week's episode of Lutties Look Back. Thank you so much for everyone for watching. It was another fun one. We're getting closer and closer to basketball season, but still a lot of football talk as well. Thanks so much for watching this week's episode of Lutties Look Back. We'll see you same time, same place next week.